If you think that you need a huge following in order to be successful on Instagram, this belief alone is what is keeping you broke and stuck. So many coaches, service providers, and entrepreneurs are obsessing over the size of their following. They think it's this magic key to making 50, 100K, or even $1 million months. But the reality is, the size of your following really doesn't equate to more income. More buyers does. And if you're frustrated because your follower count isn't turning into paying clients, you are probably making this huge mistake that is leading to a stagnant platform and a stagnant bank account. The biggest mistake that you are making is that you are focusing too much on your following count rather than creating an engaged community of people who are ready and qualified to buy. And the hard truth is, you don't actually need more followers. You need to work with what you have and be able to convert people from your existing audience into raving paying clients. And the hard truth is, you don't actually need more followers. You need buyers who are ready to work with you. And there is a massive difference in how you actually approach Instagram strategy with that in mind. And here's the difference. A follower is just a number versus a community, an audience that actually cares about what you say, engages with your content, and eventually buys from you. But if we're being real, most people are out there obsessing and chasing vanity metrics rather than focusing on the true core metrics that actually create a conversion between a follower into a buyer. Gary Vaynerchuk puts it perfectly. It's not about how many followers you have, it's about how many people actually care. If your audience isn't engaged and they don't see you as the go-to expert in their space, to be honest, your follower count is meaningless. I remember when I was stuck at 20K followers, and I'll be honest, I was obsessed with growing my account because I truly thought that that would be the only way that I would make the type of money that I really desired in my business. I was in for a rude awakening because I didn't have trust, I didn't have engagement, and most importantly, people just saw me as an inspiration rather than an expert. Everything changed when I started focusing on these three main things that skyrocketed my influence and my income. The first thing that's so important to focus on is creating content that attracts buyers rather than just followers. So if you want to attract an audience that actually buys from you rather than just likes and saves your posts, you need to do this number one thing. The first is really focusing on adding value to somebody's life, but not just teaching them something, getting them to think differently. Education style posts are a dime a dozen, and yes, they are valuable, but people don't just like to save something. The first thing that you need to do is understand your client's current desires and struggles. If your client is able to see themselves in your content and visualize the journey of what it would mean for them to engage in the tools, the wisdom, the lessons, and the education that you share, they are going to be far more likely to convert because your free content alone is getting them to think differently and take different action than they would had they not experienced your page. So instead of 5 tips to enhance your morning routine, your content shifts into, if you wake up drained every single morning and can barely roll out of bed, here's the number one thing I would do to fix this. That shift alone is essentially the same type of content, but the specificity is what allows for somebody to actually see themselves within your content rather than just see it as a cookie cutter post. So remember, the more specific you get, the more that your clients will feel seen, heard, and understood by the content you're putting out. The second piece, and this is so important, is to make sure that you are creating value-driven content. So many people just post fluffy content and post to post because they think that consistency is all that matters. And while yes, consistency is important, the quality of your content is way more important and way more engaging with your ideal clients as it relates to actually converting them from followers into buyers. And if you're looking to attract high-ticket buyers into your world, high-ticket buyers do not buy from people who just post fluffy, feel-good content. They buy from people who they see as the go-to expert in their space. Illustrate the journey of where they are today to where they want to be and fill in the gaps with your expertise and your services as the #1 resource and best investment they can make. So instead of posting motivational quotes or just trendy Instagram reels, think about posting case studies, testimonials, origin stories around how you yourself got from where they are today to where they want to be and all of the steps that you took in between. Alex Hormozi actually shares give away your best content for free. And this is a rule to live by as it relates to showing up as an authority on Instagram. And the third tip is to make sure that you are using conversion-based storytelling. Storytelling has been around since the dawn of humanity, and it is one of the best ways to attract interest and create intrigue around your offer. If you can properly showcase a story of a client, of your own journey, how you've navigated something that your prospective clients are currently going through, they're going to feel themselves in your shoes and see you as somebody that they can trust because you have walked the path before them. So for example, I work with a lot of breathwork facilitators, and rather than posting a fluffy piece of content saying breathwork can change your life and maybe sharing some of the scientific tips behind it, what I teach them to do is actually illustrate the story behind how they used it with a client and how it was able to help them to move through a challenge or a struggle that they were getting stuck with and get to their desired reality. Okay, and be honest with me, how many times have you wished for a post to go viral? You have to stop chasing virality and instead start chasing depth. What this might mean is that you actually see less engagement or less views on your post because you're niching down. But less views and less engagement doesn't necessarily mean that your posts aren't actually converting. In fact, what I've come to find is that the more niche and specific you can be when you're really chasing that depth instead of virality, the more trust and rapport you're building with your audience. And in truth, the goal shouldn't be to go viral. Every single time that I talk to somebody who's gone viral, they always complain about the same thing. I'm reaching too many people outside of my audience, my engagement has dropped, and it feels like I am no longer speaking to my ideal client. So your goal should be to create content that attracts the right people, the people that you want to work with, the people that you would multiply 1,000,000 times over as clients. If 10 new people were to follow you that all turned into buyers, that would be far more valuable than 10,000 followers who never even look at your posts again. So stop chasing mass appeal and start chasing depth. And the final thing that is arguably the most important is be worth following. This shift is simple, but it's powerful. You want to make sure that you're not just chasing that next follower count of 10K, 20K, 50K, 100K. Yes, those numbers feel great once you hit them, but in truth, they have nothing to do with the amount of money in your bank account. When you start showing up as somebody worth following for your ideal client specifically, they will pay attention, they will engage, they will slide into your DMs and ask, how can I work with you? And that's really what you want to focus on as a business owner, coach, or service provider in the Instagram space. The moment that you stop trying to be popular and chasing views is the moment that you will actually start attracting people that want to follow you and want to buy from you. And if this video hit home for you, make sure to leave a comment below letting me know which tip stood out to you the most that you are going to start implementing today. I drop videos like this every single week, so if you're looking for a no BS style of growth, marketing, and advertising and sales strategy as an online coach, make sure to subscribe and check out the links in the description to learn more.